brought to you in part by Stardust. Download the app and start sharing your reactions to movies, trailers, and TV shows today. Follow Jaby Koay first and tag us in your first video. Hello people, I am Jaby Koay, joined by CORTNEY WRIGHT.
Hello.
We're going to review The Disaster Artist. This is going to be a non-spoiler review. Fret not, even though all the things that could be spoiled are out there, the information has been known for quite some time, but we'll try our best to keep this anonymous, mysterious, ominous, underous, something wondrous. I loved this movie. Loved it. Freaking loved it. I didn't know I would love it. Like I went in, just like kind of just letting it, you know, hit me.
Especially for anyone who's seen The Room, I'm sure you have strong feelings about The Room one way or the other. I didn't know what to expect, although I'm a fan of James Franco. I was really curious and excited to see this film, and I was not let down.
It had so much more heart than I was anticipating. If you're on the fence, I would say definitely watch it. If you've never seen The Room, I would say definitely go watch it. If you've seen The Room, you better watch it. Why are you even looking at this? Go watch the movie.
I appreciated having seen The Room before seeing this, so that way I kind of had an idea going in what it was about. I mean, you don't need it, but at the same time, there are parts of the movie that will get spoiled if you haven't seen the film.
The writers actually didn't watch the movie before they wrote their script.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they wrote it in such a way so that you didn't need to watch The Room in order to appreciate it. So, if you guys are wondering whether or not to watch it, please go watch it. It's worth the price of admission. Before we really get into our review, as usual, I want to talk a little bit about our sponsor for this video. I'm gonna do this a little different. You used Stardust. How did you like using it? It's new to you. I've been using it for a while.
It was completely new. I didn't know what to expect. I liked it. I liked having the brief amount of time, that way you could still talk about the film you were reviewing, but at the same time you're connecting with people that I would ordinarily, other than when I'm with you, I would never do that. I like it. I thought it was really fun.
That's actually a great thing to bring up, is the social aspect to it, because you can look at a swath of other people's reviews and power through them like Snapchat or Instagram stories, where you just click, 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 and you can see everyone's thoughts and you can follow them and see what other things they review. And if you get your friends on there, you can all get like a 30-second rundown of how everybody feels like that.
The cool thing is that I don't really like to read when critics review a film. I feel like they're coming from a different place than I am. They're looking for different things, and they're more critical. As opposed to like the fans, the actual people who are like me, going to see a film and reviewing, giving a 30-second review, that's incredible. I will watch that before I will listen to critics.
So hopefully that inspires you to get on board. Please join the program, the team. Download it using the link in the description below. Follow us first, because I'm the one that recommended it to you. When you do your first upload, make sure to tweet both myself and Achara so that we both notice it, and your video can be part of our video, the next review that we do. And it can be like a community thing, you know? We want you to be in our videos, and we'll be in yours. And it'll be like, we're all one.
All part of the family.
Kumbaya. James Franco's performance, let's start with that, because that's the thing that like kind of hits you first. The way they did this in the film was they didn't show him right away. It was this kind of slow build up to revealing him, and when they did, I was like, oh my God, that's totally Tommy Wiseau. Like, he nailed it.
Yeah.
He freaking nailed it.
He really did.
And the thing is, it's not a caricature. It feels like a character, and everything feels very authentic, and he really believes everything that he's saying.
Yeah, he embodied it to a T. And I know that there are times, like, you may have heard about, like James Franco is someone who you consider to be like a method actor. Even when he was directing, he was still in character as Tommy, directing his actors for this film, not just directing them during the sequences that were about The Room itself. But I really thought his performance was fantastic. Even right down to the littlest things, like his eyes, like the way that he held his eyes were exactly similar to the way the real Tommy did.
I never even left.
I just kept going. I could do this all day.
No, but I agree with you. That's the thing that was so remarkable to me, is just how genuine it was. Like, even the emotional moments in the film, I wasn't expecting that to come. I wasn't expecting that to hit me. I was thinking it was just gonna be a comedy.
That's what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, and so James Franco commits so much to that character and what he's saying. I couldn't stop laughing because it was so good. It's so real.
It almost felt like it was documentary style, but it wasn't. It was an actual film. I went in expecting kind of like a parody and or not a caricature, but like definitely a commentary. But this was an actual, it was similar to like a biopic, if you think about it. It gave you an opportunity to get to know both characters, Greg
and Tommy Wiseau.
And Tommy, to develop and connect to their relationship as friends.
We have a whole cast of actors in this film. Seth Rogan, Dave Franco, Ari Grainer, Allison Brie, a whole bunch of people. I think everyone brought it. I think everyone did a great job in this movie. Not everyone has the layers that Greg and Tommy have, but everyone who's present in the film does a fantastic job.
It was a complete ensemble.
Yeah, it's a great cast of people. James Franco also directed this. For not only being such a committed actor and doing such a great job, he directed it so well. It wasn't fancy camera angles, it was shot really well, the cinematography was great. He obviously had someone he trusted behind the camera to film it well. There was absolutely nothing I could criticize about the camera work in the film.
I agree. The directing was so seamless.
Right.
Because a lot of times, like, you can sense when an actor is also directing because it seems like they go in and out in certain scenes.
Yeah.
But this one, James was completely in the entire time.
I wouldn't have, if you didn't tell me James Franco directed it as well, there's no way to know that. It's like he does such a great job on all fronts. From the way it's produced, the way he directed it, and the way he performed in it. The way he just lets the actors do their thing. I'm sure there was some improv involved. The way he works with his actors, he's obviously got a relationship with everyone in this movie, so he was able to get the best performances out of them, including Seth Rogan, who was very standout in this film. Like, I think Seth Rogan did a fantastic job.
So did I. I loved him. It was almost a turn for him because usually you expect him to be the eccentric / comedic character, and he had some funny moments, but it wasn't like he was trying to be funny. I think it's just because he's a naturally funny guy.
Right.
He was really invested, and I thought it was great. And same for Dave Franco.
Dave Franco?
Dave Franco,
Yeah, Dave Franco.
His brother.
Yeah, I think that James is really good at kind of bringing people down and just honing in on the simple point of what is happening in that moment. I would love to see another film he does that he's not in where he's just directing. I'm very curious to see how he is as just a director alone, because I think he's actually really good. I think the thing is, like, the movie actually moved me emotionally, and I was not expecting that, and that is the mark of a good director.
Yeah, because you didn't expect to feel anything for Tommy.
Just like with James Franco and the directing, the writing was so good. It was so remarkable. And like I mentioned earlier, the writers never looked at the movie. They wanted to be able to have an outsider perspective on the whole thing to give you the most genuine, heartfelt film possible. And the thing is, there was a one-liner that kind of hit me as like the duh moment that just made sense of the whole thing. They said, can this friendship survive making this movie? Because at the heart of it, it was about a friendship between Tommy and Greg. Hanging the hat on that idea, I think, was brilliant. That's the crux of the story, is the friendship between these two people and the conflicts, the ups and downs therein, the way it kind of came around at the end. The writers did a fantastic job constructing these two characters and breathing life into them with the dialogue and everything like that. You're a writer. How did you feel about the writing? Writer lady? Courtney
I thought
Wright?
the writing was great because you always...
You missed what I did there, didn't you?
No, I totally went right over that.
Courtney Writer.
Exactly. No, for me, the mark of a good... Stupid. You're stupid. The mark of a good film, writing-wise, is can you get lost in the film?
Yeah.
And forget that you're watching a film. Because the hardest thing for me as a writer, sitting in I'm watching it, from a place of like disbelief or like, okay, like you go in and out. Yeah. But with this film, you were just invested from the beginning to the end.
I want to talk about Tommy Wiseau for a second. I just think it's great that he willingly sold his rights for this film. I think it's so great that he embraced the culture that this film became, that not this film, but The Room. He just embraced where it went. He didn't want that, but it landed in this place and he's like, screw it, I'll make lemon out of this. Or I'll make lemonade out of this. And he found a way to do so, and then he sold his rights. I heard about the conversation between him and James Franco and Greg.
Oh, really?
James Franco was like talking to him on the phone, and initially he was like, oh, how about Johnny Depp? And James Franco's like, oh my God, like, I can never get, like, he laughed. And Tommy goes, why are you laughing? and apparently Greg already knew that Tommy was thinking of James Franco second. So Greg chimed in on the phone call and it goes, what about you, James? Can you do it? And Tommy's like, yeah, maybe you. So that's how that came about. It's really cool. Like
that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad.
What about Johnny Depp?
Yeah, I'm glad Tommy was cool enough to sell his rights to it. I'm glad that he's figured out how to embrace this because apparently he's such a cool guy. He goes to a lot of these midnight screenings and just hangs out and tosses football with people.
He seems like a cool guy. Like even in the way that he was portrayed, he seems like he's this out of the box kind of guy, you know? Like it's unexpected. I feel like he would have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
It may not go where you're expecting it to go, but I think it would definitely be enlightening.
I guess the last thing I want to talk about is that's what you expect this film to be. That's how it sold itself, is like that moment playing over and over again of him trying to say, I did not do it, I did not, I did, oh hi Mark. That was the most memorable thing in the trailer.
Yeah.
They kept doing that over and over again.
Right.
The first 40 minutes of this movie had me laughing hysterically. I think I was laughing more than you. Like I was just busting up all the time just because every little thing was just making me laugh because it was so authentic. And then what ensued was a lot of drama. I wasn't mad at that. I actually really, like I was uncomfortable.
You just kind of slipped into it.
Yeah.
And you weren't really sure. Like you were like, oh, like I know that there were a couple moments where I literally had my face covered.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is gonna be painful. I don't know if I can handle this. But like, so from a good place.
You know what it almost reminded me of is some of the worst, and I mean this in a good way, some of the worst moments from The Office. Did you ever watch The Office?
At times.
Okay, so Michael Scott, the character, would often land himself in these weird, awkward places in his life. He would get so deep entrenched in these situations with his foot in his mouth. You're like, how does he get out of this? And I would be so panicked, so uncomfortable, and like covering my mouth because I'm like, how the hell, I'm like having a panic attack right now.
Exactly.
And that was happening to you during this movie because it was the same kind of feeling like,
I just want to look away. I just don't want, I feel so bad for him because I've been in those moments where it's just like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and the thing that was just so amazing to me was at the end of it all, it's like the most memorable thing is that it just had so much heart, just like The Room did. Even though it's a bad film, James Franco has repeatedly said, it's 14 years old, and people are still talking about this movie, still watching it. He's like,
still joyfully going to midnight screenings.
He's like, in one interview, James Franco was like, I love The Revenant. No one's talking about The Revenant like they are talking about The Room. Yeah. Right?
Because if you think about it, like no one gets so excited to the point that I went to a midnight screening of The Room, and they take spoons every time because in the movie, like there is a picture of a spoon in like many different scenes. So every time the spoon is in the film, people get so excited, you know, with their spoons. I'm not going to tell you what happened. Well, okay.
Well, I mean, it's everywhere. It's
okay.
Everywhere. It's
all right,
everywhere.
so you take the spoon, and then everybody's like, spoon! And then they, you know, like toss the spoons. And there are people there that actually know the dialogue, that are saying the lines along with the character. Like, that shows the love of this film. Like, people love and enjoy going. I went because it was my friend's birthday, and he was like, I just want to go and see The Room, and I want all my friends to come with me.
In summary, I think that this is a fantastic film. You guys should definitely watch it if you haven't already. If you're still on the fence, please go check it out.
Go see it.
Support. It's so awesome. I loved it. And I actually want to watch it again. We watched it together. I'm planning to take a Chara after she watches The Room because I think, you know, just to have the whole... No, she hasn't. Just to have the whole experience. I mean, you don't need to watch The Room to appreciate this, but I think it does help just to have that little extra. And watch it the way Courtney's saying. Go watch it at a screening if you can. One of those midnight shows or whatever where you have like the group. But if you can't do that, if you're impatient and don't want to wait for those, at least have a bunch of friends to watch it with because you can talk to each other about it. It's a conversational film. It is definitely an unforgettable experience when you watch it with friends. Or, you know, take a date and into your living room and chill. Anyways,
fun.
Yeah. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Please check out Courtney Wright on the social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, and short films. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
Courtney Wright.
Peace out.